I'm Charlie Lambden. This is Moving Home with Charlie. Welcome to a live stream, which is especially intended for anyone who's worried that they might not be able to keep up their mortgage payments and don't know what to do about that. Now, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a mortgage broker, and I am not Martin Lewis, and I'm not here to advise you on your finances. What I'm here to do is to share with you, and this is for benefit of people who are worried, as in we just can't see how we're going to get our way through this, and to know what the real life options are, not just what the official options are. I want to make it really clear, I am not recommending for or against any of these things, but basically there are only three options. If you end up in a situation where you cannot afford your mortgage payments, well, you know you're going to end up in that position and you don't have any savings. Okay, so this video is only, so please spare me comments about, well, I can do this and I can do that. Good luck, fantastic. I'm here ultimately, in line with my vision of a home for everyone, to minimize new homelessness. And there are people right now living in homes, paying mortgages, who at some point in the not too distant future are going to find themselves homeless. And some of those people, there's going to be nothing that can be done. Some of those people will look back and go, if only we'd acted sooner, we might have avoided it. That's my sole intention of this video, is to try to help people figure out what their options are. I cannot even begin to advise which of these options is right for anybody, but I just want to lay out the things that your discussion topic with your partner or whoever it is you're talking to about what your options are, because the worst thing you can do is do nothing if you're worried. Okay. And again, everything I say is in the context of you're somebody who knows that a fixed rate period is coming to an end, knows that your mortgage payment's going to go up by an amount you can't afford, you cannot see a way through, and you don't know what your options are. All right. Now, some of you will have just watched Martin Lewis's emergency mortgage show on ITV in his interview with Jeremy Hunt. I put a survey up, here it is, on Twitter just a few minutes ago to see what effect that interview with Jeremy Hunt had for mortgage holders. Okay. And the stop the guff option at the bottom, that stop the guff option is for people who aren't mortgage holders who just wanted to see what the results are. Now, we've only had 161 votes so far, but what I wanted to know was, if you're a mortgage holder, did it make you feel better, the same, or worse? And so far, 6 times more people feel worse than feel better as a result of that, and 19% feel the same. All right. So ignoring the stop the guff voters, very few people are feeling better after that. Of the ones voting is feeling worse. We'll keep that there. If you haven't voted on that and you're on Twitter, and you're a mortgage holder, go and vote on that. One of the things that gave me the idea to do this live stream this evening was this tweet that I got today. How can anyone prepare? This is in response to a tweet I put up saying that being prepared for the worst, if it's coming, is better than not being prepared. And so someone goes, well, how can anyone prepare? As it is 6%, 6% pretty nearly doubles our repayments from £1,000 to £1,900 a month. We remortgaged in February, so who knows what it'll be. It's just getting silly. And that got me thinking. I know there are people in many different scenarios. That got me thinking, if I was in the scenario where I know that my mortgage payments, maybe they've already gone up and I already can't afford them, or I know that they're going to go up and I know I'm not going to be able to afford them. And I don't have family help. I don't have anyone to bail me out. It's just me and my mortgage payments that are unaffordable. What are the options? So the title of this video, Fight, Fold, or Fuck 'em. Deliberately clickbaity, but I wanted to also make it clear that those are the three options. And in a nutshell, fighting is, have you really exhausted all of your options to hold onto your home no matter what, if that's what you want to do? Fold means you know you're not going to be able to, so you've decided you want to take early action about it, which means selling. Or fuck 'em, which is the third option I'll come on to. And this is the one where there's homelessness is a potential outcome. And in fact, for the people who choose option 2, fold, in other words, sell, if you fail to sell, then you end up assuming that fighting is not an option in the third category. So let's talk about option number 1. Okay, and again, I want to really make it clear here. These are just, if you stop paying your mortgage or you can't keep up your mortgage payments, and it's not temporary, but it's a permanent situation, there are only 3 outcomes. Number 1, you solve your financial problem and find a way to pay, which is the fight. Number 2, you fold, you sell, you get out while you can and salvage what you can, you cut your losses. That's number 2. And number 3 is the sort of what I call the nuclear option, which is, you know that there's no chance of keeping up your payments. You also know that because of the market now, selling has not become an option because perhaps you're already in negative equity, or by the time you've sold, it's going to be so in other words, selling is just actually sadly no longer an option for you. So what do you do if your scenario is that you know it's only a question of time until your home is going to be repossessed? There's nothing funny about in this video. There's going to be no humor in it whatsoever, because there's just literally nothing funny about the prospect of people losing their homes and ending up homeless. Okay. So if anyone has any, by the way, any other categories that you think, any other potential outcomes for people who are not going to be able to afford their mortgage payments indefinitely, let me know, because let's just talk about fighting first, okay? So fighting is, and this is going to depend so much on not only your circumstances, but also whatever circumstances may be on your control, and whether or not you've got the energy to fight. And I understand that a lot of people are already at the bottom of their energy reserves and just don't have anything else to give. They're already working the extra hours that there are. They've already sold everything they've got to sell. But I think for a lot of people, this is a gradual process. There are millions of people affected by this. And you slowly, a lot of people don't want to know about it. And I understand, and I do not criticize the coping strategy, which is, I just don't want to think about it. Don't want to think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. I'm just going to deal with it when it arrives. That is an entirely legitimate coping strategy. And actually, sometimes that strategy means that you avoid a lot of stress and worry. And when the time comes, actually, you're in a position to do something about it because something's improved. But this video is not for you guys, right? If you are someone who just doesn't want to know about it, doesn't want to think about it, then don't watch this video, all right? But if you're someone that actually would rather do something, nothing, this is for you. So fighting, what are your options? Like extreme options. Okay, the big headline options are, and again, what you're doing is you're fighting to hold on to your property in the hope that in the long run you can keep it. Okay, that's what I mean by fighting. So taking in lodgers, something that a lot of people never even contemplated when they bought their home and got a mortgage. But taking in a lodger, whether it's a permanent lodger or whether you start to do Airbnb on one of your spare rooms or that kind of stuff, for a lot of people who've never considered it, that can be the difference between keeping your home or losing your home. And it's worth looking into, it's worth considering as something, okay? And a lot of people just disregard it and go, I don't want strangers staying in my home. Look into it. A lot of people do it. It can be done safely. Check it out, because it might be something where you go, well, look, if the alternative is that we lose our home, maybe it won't be as bad as we think. Maybe we should at least try it. Give it a try. All right. So lodgers or, bed and breakfast type scenario, you might be surprised what you can make depending on your situation in your home. Moving back in with your parents or back in with family and renting it out which may or may not be in breach of your mortgage terms, but in my life experience, and I'm not recommending this is merely an observation, lenders don't seem to care what you do as long as you're making your mortgage payments. That has been my observation. I am not recommending anybody breaches the terms of their mortgage. I'm simply saying that sometimes in a desperate situation, this is what people have done. In fact, I have been a tenant of somebody who rented their home to me when they were 4 years in arrears of their mortgage payments, and I didn't know. So it happens. And some people, desperate times, desperate circumstances, might choose to just rent it out, move in with friends, or move in somewhere cheaper, or whatever, go abroad, van life, whatever it might be, some other living alternative until your situation improves and you're able to take your home back again. It's fraught with many, many risks, of course. The one thing I would say is this, is that because renting your home out to a tenant can work very well, but it can also come up with real problems, I would recommend that unless you're very confident you know what you're doing, you talk to a letting agent, all right? Talk to a letting agent to make sure that you, because there are a million laws about what you have to do if you're renting out and becoming a landlord, accidental landlord, right? That's going to happen a lot. Some of you will go, do you know what? I'd rather just sell. That's fine. That's full. But if you are looking to fight and a lodger isn't going to solve the problem, but moving out and renting it out solves the problem because you still own it and you might be able to get it back in the future, I would at least talk to letting agents, and I would talk to local independent people who've been there a long time and who know the area and they know the pitfalls and they know the local demographics. That's what I would do, okay, if you're thinking about renting out. Obviously, everyone's talked about all the other things you do to save money, but selling stuff, cancelling subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to patronize anyone with that kind of suggestion. But my point is that in the situation where you're facing the potential loss of your home and you do decide to fight to keep it, you'll be surprised how much easier it is to keep your home if you decide to make that fight and you decide to compromise and everything, you decide that keeping your home is your ultimate goal. Then most people will find a way. Most people will find a way, okay? And you may or may not have to bend some rules to do it, but if you end up at the end of it keeping your home, that might be a risk that you personally are prepared to consider. I am not recommending it, but I'm just saying that people do it and it sometimes works. So that's point number 2. Oh Jesus, there's 500 of you. How long are we going? 15 minutes. Right. Point number 3. I'd say it's quite clear, isn't it? Right. Number 1, fight, which is lodger, rent it out, financially do whatever you can, extra work, etc., etc. You financially fight to keep hold of your home. And by the way, if it comes down to the wire and you're fighting to keep your home and you're going to default on something, don't default on your mortgage. Make that the last thing you default on, because defaulting on any of the other things won't cost you your home. It'll cost you your credit rating and all kinds of other stuff, right? But if there are going to be things that you default on, don't make your mortgage your last one if you've chosen to fight to keep your home, because your lender won't care what else you default on if they're getting paid. That's how they work, in my experience. Folding. Okay, sorry. So that's point number 1. We've only covered point number 1. Point number 2, folding. Folding means, okay, we aren't going to be able to afford to stay here. We need to move out. We need to sell. Right now, and some of you have already seen this, right now, 5 out of 6 homes aren't selling, right? This is data from just a few days ago, less than a week ago. And total homes for sale, 647,000. Total homes showing a sale agreed, 123,000. All right. That is a, unless I got my math seriously wrong, that's near as damn it a 5-to-1 ratio. 5 out of 6 homes are not selling. If you are going to sell your home, you are currently in this market at an 80% risk of overpricing it and chasing the market down. Okay? There are people who've already been chasing the market down since last summer. And every month they drop their price a bit, drop it 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 a bit. And no matter how many times they do it, they don't learn the lesson, which is unless you drop your asking price below what people are expecting the market price for your home to be, you will not sell it. You will not sell it. So if you choose to fold, you are more than likely going to have to accept a bigger loss than you thought, because we all suffer from optimism bias. Go and find an agent that knows what they're doing. If you go and choose a cheap agent, you may as well just give up, right? The thing that a lot of people don't understand is that there are lots of agents out there who've been agents for 10 years who've never operated in a market like this and simply don't know how to do it. There are estate agents who simply don't know how to win your business other than to persuade you that they really can get this higher price than the other agents can. Any agent that pitches to you based on them getting a higher price than other agents, just literally walk away. Walk away. The only thing that you want to be hearing from an agent that's thinking of selling your house is, this is a very difficult market. Look how many homes are already on the market here that are not selling. Look how long they've been on. Look how many price reductions they have. I can sell your house, but only if you're realistic. And realistic means pricing it below market expectations to get competing bidders. That way we get your home sold quickly. If you want to get out, if you want to sell, if you want to fold and cut your losses, you need to do it quickly. You need to be brutal with the price, because as long as we get competing bidders, we will still get the best available price, even in the falling market. Now, 1 in 6 sellers are thinking that way and getting their properties sold. 1 in 6 agents is delivering, all right, roughly, or agents are delivering on 1 in 6 of their stuff. So this is the point. Don't fall into the trap that most people are falling into right now trying to sell, which is thinking, oh, we've been really optimistic about it, we've been really realistic about our price, and thinking that your asking price bears any relation to what you're going to get for the property. All right. The properties that are selling today, and there are still thousands of properties that are selling today, are the ones priced realistically, attracting competing buyers. So people ask me all the time, Charlie, what does it mean when people say offers over? Well, a really good agent will say offers over because they know they're going to get offers over that particular price in this market. All right. So really proficient agents will achieve offers above the asking price because they will set the asking price so attractively that you'll get competing buyers. Other inexperienced agents will say offers over and just hope that the buyers are going to go, oh, well, we have to offer over this. That's not working. That's just not working. Yes, please spare me the anecdotes of your property is really special. You'll get, like, don't fall into that trap. There are some people with very rare properties, very desirable properties in desirable locations that will always sell, but those are in the minority. Right now, if you have a mainstream property, and a fairly normal run-of-the-mill property, go and see how many other properties like yours are for sale and are not selling. And to give you an idea on the price you should be thinking of, you should be looking at so like here, we've got the median price of properties showing as sold is 290. So if my property was the typical property of that particular data set, I would be, and 290 is what's showing now. We know that buyers are accepting 5 to 10% below asking price. So you've got to take 5 to 10% off that. So you've got to take another 15 to 30 grand off that. Okay. So we're talking about 260 is where you set your asking price. And then you probably get 270, 275 for it. Okay. If you don't follow that advice and you've got a fairly typical run-of-the-mill property, you won't sell it in this market. I haven't got time to go into all the reasons why. Just, I know what I'm talking about, okay? 25 years in this business, working with agents of all kinds across the whole country, and this is a hard, fast rule, okay? Don't make the mistake. If you choose to fold and sell, don't make the mistake of thinking you've lowered enough. Be bold, be early and don't be one of the people that chases the markets down for 6 to 9 months, because if you do, you'll look back and go, if only we'd priced it more aggressively 6 months ago, we'd have sold it and been out. But now, here we are, our property is now a negative equity. We now have no chance of selling it. In fact, we can't sell it without being in debt to the bank, and we're stuffed. If only we'd priced it aggressively at the beginning. I cannot stress this enough. If you making that mistake now, if you're someone who knows that you can't keep up your mortgage payments, is a mistake that might end up seeing you homeless when you could have avoided it. All right, so that's fold. Number 1 was fight for your home to keep it. Number 2 is fold, sell it now. Cut your losses, get out now, right? Option number 3. Very few people are aware of the fact that councils are legally obliged to provide you with accommodation if you are officially homeless. But if you leave your property before you are actually evicted, they call you intentionally homeless, and it gets them out of their legal obligation to home you. All right. Now, if you don't believe me, check this page out. I put a link to it below. The Homelessness Code for Guidance for Local Authorities. All right. The link is below in the description. I recommend that anyone who thinks they're in negative equity already, or might be, or will be if they can't sell, and doesn't have a backup option of where they're going to live if they lose their home, read this and understand it. Because then you'll understand why I'm about to say what I say when I come up with my option number 3, fuck them. And it's this. This is an option. I am not recommending this. I am merely pointing out that this is an option. Okay? In fact, more than an option, it might be something you have no choice over if and when the time comes. And I hope it doesn't come for anybody. And if this video helps even one person avoid homelessness, then I'm very, very glad I've done it. If you have reached the point where you've already given up on your credit rating, you know that there's no prospect of financial recovery in time to keep your home, and you know that it's just a question of time until you lose it, then yes, as Jeremy Hunt reminded us and Martin Lewis reminded us on the show this evening, they've now got this thing where you can do a 6-month product swap. I would use all of these options, by the way, right? First thing I'd be doing, if you know you're in this situation, is do the 6-month product swap, which I understand they're obliged to offer you. So swapping to interest only, or swapping to a longer product, or something like that. Okay. But you've got to keep making payments on that. And if you don't, then of course, then the new law is that they're not allowed to commence repossession proceedings for 12 months. And then they will be entitled to repossess your property. Okay. If you know that that is coming down the road, or likely to, or if you end up discovering that that's the situation you're in, you may very well decide, well, there's no point in getting out. We may as well just use the home for as long as we can. We've defaulted. We know we've defaulted. We can't keep up repayments. Let's just at least make the most of the silver lining to that cloud, which is we get a year here, right? The government has told us that we get a year here, and use that year. In a minute, I'm going to come on to an idea I've got, which actually I think would be in everyone's best interest: government, banks, and home dwellers, home occupiers. But this is the most important thing. If you are at risk of homelessness, you do not voluntarily give up the property, because by doing so, you rule yourself out of getting local authority assistance in getting you somewhere to live. Okay, so if the property is going to sit empty anyway, just stay in it. right? You are legally entitled to do that. The bank will probably write to you and tell you that they want you to get out. Please vacate the property. You're in default. Blah blah blah. This is just standard procedure. And when you get those letters, it can be incredibly intimidating. But the law says it's illegal for someone to force you out of that property without an eviction order from the court. Right? You cannot be removed from that property. Same for landlords, right? They can't remove you without an eviction order. And the council requires you to stay there until you are legally evicted in order for them to be able to actually then pay for accommodation for you. All right. So guys, that was a bleak video. Okay, but I just don't think that there was enough real help for people who are really worried in Martin's show just now. In a few minutes, straight after this, I'm going to be doing a live stream with Housing Stig with Alex, where we're going to discuss the economic prospects in the next year or two, specifically for the benefit of people who are wondering if they're going to be able to keep up their repayments, wondering what their prospects are. And we can't tell anyone what your prospects are going to be, but we can hopefully share with you what's looking likely and what you can expect. Thank you so much, all of you, for watching. Wow, so many comments. This isn't the one for questions. Thank you so much. I'm going to be ending this live stream now, and within about 5 minutes or so, immediately starting another live stream. It hasn't been scheduled, so you'll just have to go to my YouTube channel or LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, wherever you're watching this, and the live stream will appear, and it'll be me and Alex, and we'll be chatting about the economy. We will try and put a bit more humor into it, but I hope this was valuable for you. Let's just have a quick look and see if that survey has changed. So 264 votes. Let's just get that up there on the screen to finish the video with. Yeah, still 3 times more people feel worse than feel better after Jeremy Hunt's interview. All right, guys, have a great evening. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye, guys.